Hey everyone, yeah, that's me, right at the back of this massive 30-car grid in Assetto Corsa Competizione on Low Fuel Motorsport. It's the moment every sim racer dreads. Your internet goes down just as you're about to enter an online lobby, and that's exactly what's happened to me today in this Go Setups GT3 Sprint at Watkins Glen. Now, thankfully, I was able to reboot and get into the server just as qualifying was ending, but it means I've had no chance to set a lap time. I've not even had a chance to complete a practice lap. I was fully intending to use my qualifying run to regain some knowledge of the track and get some much needed tyre pressure data, but now I'm without either and I'm starting at the very back of the grid in P30. Talk about being up against it, eh? It remains to be seen what I can realistically do from here. Top 20, top 15 if I'm lucky. One thing's for sure, the only way is up. Okay, here we go then. The lights are green and we're underway. I've already picked up one position on the rolling start. One driver not making the grid, so I'm up to P29. It looks like several other drivers taking it very cautiously into this first turn, so I'll pick up another one or two positions here. I mean, I'm being cautious myself, but not as cautious as the cars behind. And with that one driver not making the grid, I had to switch sides as we approached the green flag. I moved from left to right, which of course gave me the inside line for turn one. Several of the other drivers playing it as safe as possible through that first corner. They went out as wide as they could, which gave me several positions. I thought I counted 5 cars behind me as I came out of turn one. We'll soon get confirmation as the leaderboard updates. Yes, sure enough, I'm up into P24. So 5 cars behind me, plus the non-starter. I've gained 6 positions already in this opening half a lap at Watkins Glen. So that is exactly the start that I wanted. I've got to be looking at the top 20 for my initial target here. And thanks to a safe, steady and sensible start, it is now well within my sights already. Yellow flags are out at the hairpin. Have we lost another driver at the end of this straight? Yes, we have. Look, a car out on the grass to the left. And it was the pole position driver, Christoph Bischoff in the McLaren. So Bischoff was leading the race and he has gone. We'll go back and check out a replay shortly to see what happened to the pole sitter. But for now, I'm up another position into P23. Oh, and a little bit too close for comfort there with Tazzy John in front. I had one eye on the Ferrari behind me. Tiamir Yakovov was having a look up the inside and it almost caught me out. I just took my eye off the Ford Mustang ahead of me and it almost ended in disaster. I've managed to hold off Yakovov. But that was a reminder that things are not going to be easy here. Right, let's go back and check out a replay to see what happened to the pole sitter, Christoph Bischoff. He's leading the race. That's Danny Becker behind in the Ferrari. Becker going to have a look up the inside into the hairpin and spins the McLaren around. And fair play to Bischoff there. He must have been furious, but he waited for the entire field to come past before rejoining safely. And then this happened a little bit ahead of me. That is Tino Peter in P6, getting it all wrong through turn 9. That bunched the pack a bit closer back together, and look how close it is as we start the second lap here at Watkins Glen. I've had a much better run out of the final corner than Tazzy John ahead. Can I get alongside the Ford Mustang to pull a move up the inside into turn 1? No, I can't. I just think better of it. Going to back out of that one, play it safe for now. Can I challenge up through the S's? I'll pick up a toe here, so if I can time this right, I may be able to challenge down the straight. It doesn't look like I'm quite close enough though. I didn't get my line spot on through the S's and as a result I have lost a couple of tenths. So yeah, not going to be close to challenge into the bus stop chicane on this lap. All I can do now is concentrate on getting closer. Yellow flags are out though. Have we had an incident at the chicane? It looks like it. There's at least one car rejoining from the right. Oh, now it's all kicking off in front of me. 3 cars colliding. Tazzy John out into the barrier to the left. Is he going to rejoin in time? There's a gap up the inside. I've managed to squeeze past the Ford Mustang and all of a sudden now I am into the top 20, P19. Well, I needed the reactions of a cat there to avoid getting tangled up in that mess. Let's go back and check out the replay, and it actually started at the very front of the pack. Once again, Danny Becker in the Ferrari right in the middle of this. He's on the inside of Dan Sponzoli. Oh, it's difficult to tell if there was contact there. There may have been a slight brushing of the doors, but it sent the Ferrari out. Now, is he going to rejoin safely? Oh, he's not going to get the chance to because he just gets drilled by the McLaren of Andy Eide. This happened right behind the leaders. Eide getting getting tangled up with Marcus Sapanen in the Porsche. The pair of them spin out, and then further back we see another McLaren getting into trouble, Sebastian Vanier. He loses control on the curbs, and that's what causes the big incident that I was so lucky to get through unscathed. But yeah, another 4 positions picked up because of that incident. I'm now up into P19 as we rejoin the live action at the start of lap 3. I'm now only a few seconds off a potential top 15, but I'm certainly not going to get carried away yet because I've got both Andrew Taylor and Tazzy John within 1 second of me behind. Meanwhile, in front, a mistake for Christopher Bertram by the looks of it. The Mercedes spinning into the barrier, so that is another position gained. I'm up into P18. And yeah, long-time viewers of CR Sim Racing will have seen me make this exact mistake more than once, clipping that curb, exiting the bus stop chicane, and it spits Bertram out into the barrier. Again, I was lucky to get through there. Right, back to the race, lap 4 now. Andrew Taylor still within 0.8 of a second behind, and a little bit of a gap is starting to open up ahead, but I'm going to close right back in now because look at Danny Becker. So close to losing it completely there. He slid right across track in front of Andy Idy and Enrico Santi. Now we know that Becker started on the front row of the grid, but we also know he's been involved in 2 big collisions, so he has to be driving with damage. That might give me an advantage here. So things are looking really promising. We're not even at half race distance yet, and already I've got the top 15 well within my sights. Currently it's Andy Idy in 15, Santi right behind him, and Becker right behind him. And let's not forget about Andrew Taylor in the rearview mirror either. He is just 0.2 of a second behind in 19th, so things getting really close here. And Santi missed the apex completely into T1. That's put him out wide and allowed Becker to get through. Can I squeeze through as well? Well, no, I can't because the McLaren slammed the door shut there. I had to get off the gas. That might put me under pressure from Taylor. Taylor in the rearview mirror. Will he pick up some toe and attack down the straight? It looks like I may just have a big enough advantage to stay in front of the Ferrari driver as we get to the bus stop chicane. So yeah, things starting to heat up nicely here. The competition is fierce. And look at Santi, he's just hit the curb of doom. I felt sure he was going to crash into the barrier there. Once again, I lift. I was certain that Santi was going to slide across track. If I just kept it pinned, I may have picked up the position. But yeah, great save from Santi there. Right, let's jump forward to the end of lap 5. I've managed to open up a bit of a gap to Taylor behind now. He is 1.1 seconds adrift, so I've got to concentrate on Santi ahead. I need to get past this McLaren to try and close in on the top 15. Now, we saw Santi make a mistake into turn 1 a lap ago. Is he going to do the same again? Yes, he is. He's out over the curb. This might be my opportunity. Now, a lap ago, I got my nose pinched here, but I'm a little bit further alongside. I've made that position my own as we come up through the S's, and I've got past Santi. I'm up into P17. And my immediate concern is whether he's going to pick up any slipstream and try and snatch the position back straight away coming into the bus stop chicane. It looks like I'm far enough ahead to make this P17 my own. However, my Lamborghini certainly isn't handling quite as smoothly as I would have liked. I said before the start of the race that I had no chance to get any tyre pressure data. It looks like my tyre pressures are far lower than where they would ideally be, so that's not helping me here. It's not doing me any favours at all. But there's nothing I can do about it now. I've just got to cope with it and drive through it the best I can. Look in the rearview mirror. Santi has gone by the looks of it. A big gap opens up. Whatever happened in that corner, Taylor got through as we approach the hairpin. However, look at Taylor in the rearview mirror. Taylor's made a big mistake now, so all of a sudden I've got some clear space behind me. Yeah, my 2 nearest challengers making big mistakes in successive corners here. First it was Santi just losing control on the exit of that corner and sliding out into the barrier. We'll stick with the replay here because now Andrew Taylor is going to fly into the hairpin, carrying way too much speed there, and he slides out into the barriers as well. So can I get myself into the top 15? That is the big question. We've still got half the race to go, and I'm closing in fast on this pack of 3 in front. Currently it's Danny Becker in 14th, Sergio Lopez 15th, and Andy Idy in 16th. The 3 of them all within 1 second now. However, look who's closing in behind. Christoph Bischoff. We know he's one of the fastest drivers on track. He qualified in pole position, of course, was punted off on lap 1, but he is charging back through the pack now. So Bischoff likely to make a challenge very, very soon, as am I. On Andy Idy, a gap opened up on the inside. I had a look. I thought about trying to sling it up the inside, but I wasn't quite far enough alongside the McLaren. I backed out of it That has brought Bischoff right into play. I'm sandwiched between two McLarens here, and I am going to have my work cut out over the second half of this race. So we know that Bischoff is quicker than I am. If he does get around me, that might actually do me a favour, because if he can then carve past the three cars in front, I may be able to follow him through. Because at the moment I'm not having much joy in getting past them on my own. However, that's one less driver to worry about. Sergio Lopez has spun out into the barrier. P16 now. And yeah, it is really easy to spin exiting this turn 9. There's very little grip here, particularly when you clip that curb and the grass on the outside, which is what Lopez did there. Right, starting lap 8 then. Can I get past this Team Sky McLaren? And the ID is proving a tough nut to crack here at Watkins Glen. And I've got to admit, it's taken me a little bit by surprise. If you cast your mind back to the second lap of the race, it was ID's McLaren that careered into Danny Becker at the bus stop chicane. So he must have picked up some damage in that incident, and it's up to me to take advantage of it. This may be the opportunity. I've picked up a bit of tow coming through the S's. However, ID is going to defend into the bus stop chicane. I've got no choice but to try and sling it around the outside. I'm going to have to get this absolutely spot on, and I've done it. Another car parked up on the exit of the bus stop chicane. 2 positions in 1 there. Well, that was an incredibly big risk I took, maybe a little bit too big. It's not very often you can survive going too wide through the bus stop chicane. I was banking on being far enough alongside ID that he would be forced to back out. Thankfully he did, but he's going to come back for more here because I missed the apex completely into the left-hander. ID on my outside now, through the hairpin, door to door. Christoph Bischoff waiting in the shadows. He's ready to pounce if this all goes wrong. But we're still side by side, exiting the hairpin. It looks like ID may just have the speed advantage. Can I hold the inside line into this right-hander? No, I'm going to back out of it. However, look at ID. He's running in too wide. This might be an opportunity for me to snap back. However, ID's going to have the inside line for the next corner. Am I far enough ahead to get to it in front of him? Yes, I am. I can close the door, get to the apex, get on the gas, and hold on to this 14th position. Incredible battling on this 8th lap. And the yellow flags are out now. Has there been another incident further ahead? There is a car coming the wrong way into the final corner. That's given me another 2 positions. There must have been a big incident at the final turn. We'll go back and take another look at that. But first, I make no apologies for wanting to see this overtake again. It's got to go down as one of my gravest ever passes. Some may say dangerous, some may say stupid, but I was just far enough past the McLaren to get to the corner first. But big respect to ID too. He saw that I was going for it, and he was the one responsible for keeping us both safe. Then, of course, we saw another position gain. That was Frank Nevers losing control of the Ferrari through the chicane, and then at the end of the lap, it all kicked off. We were watching Alexander Kaller in P4 losing control. P5 gets past safely, but P6, Aldo Godoy rams into him. And a third driver losing control as well as he tries to avoid it. That is Roberto Avella. Now, the number 1 car of Godoy managed to get going again just before I came round. The other 2 didn't though, so that is 2 more positions gained. I find myself up into P12. And incredibly, with 9 minutes of the race still to go, I'm within 2 seconds of Alexandra Bad in P10. Or no, I'm not, because Bad's made a big mistake coming out of that left-hander. Bad has spun out, so that's another position gain. I'm up into P11 now. An ID incoming in the rearview mirror. The McLaren taking full advantage of me having to lift due to that spin in front. I'm still in P11 for now, but it is not going to be easy. And yet, look how much speed Bad was carrying into that corner. Then he clips the grass on the outside. That was what sealed his fate. Right, back to the live action, the end of lap 10, and look what's happened in the rearview mirror. Christoph Bischoff has got past Andy ID, so Bischoff up into P12. He qualified in pole position. He's the fastest driver on track, so he is going to be very difficult to hold off. In fact, I'm going to switch the TV cam on just so we can keep one eye on Bischoff's on board as he gets closer and closer. Meanwhile, I'm trying to chase down the 2 cars in front of me. Aldo Godoy in P9, Danny Becker in P10, both within a second. Becker's going to have a look up the inside of Godoy into T1. This is bound to slow the pair of them down and give me the opportunity to close in those final few tenths. I'm right on their tail now, but so is Bischoff in my rearview mirror. And incredibly, the 4 of us are now separated by just 0.5 of a second as we come up through the S's. This is getting incredibly tight. I don't even know where to position myself on track. For now, I'm just going to hug the inside line to try and discourage Bischoff from making a move. I'll tuck back in behind the BMW of Godoy. The pressure levels are rising here. White flags are out. Apparently there's a slower car ahead. I can't see one yet. Oh yes I can. It's the green Ferrari of Peter. So Peter must have come to grief. So now all of a sudden I'm within 1.5 seconds of P8. Well, boy, am I starting to feel the heat here. Most of the heat is coming from Bischoff breathing down my neck. But I'm going to try and stick to the racing line for as much as I possibly can here. I know from past experience when I start trying to defend too aggressively, that's when I lose my rhythm and end up making a mistake. So for now, I'm going to try, if I can, to stay on the racing line and to continue to attack the BMW of Godoy ahead. It's not going to be easy though. Look how close Bischoff is. Well, we've got Peter in P8, 1.8 seconds ahead. Half a second behind him is Danny Becker. Then it's Godoy, then me, then Bischoff. And let's not rule out Andy Ivey either. He's just 0.7 of a second behind me. So incredibly, the gap from 8th to 13th is less than 3 seconds. Right, into the final corner. We're just about to start lap 12. This is the business end of the race. I've got a much better run out of the corner than Godoy. Godoy instantly moves to defend. I've got no choice but to go out wide. So if I'm going to make this pass, I'm going to have to do it the hard way. Around the outside through this first corner. I've got to leave a car's width on my inside for Godoy. And at the same time, I've got to try and avoid going out over the curb. I've just about managed it. Bischoff's got the best seat in the house watching this battle. But it does look like I've got the speed advantage coming up through the S's because I've made that P10 my own. Right, let's switch our attentions to Bischoff's on board because he's now side by side with Godoy. Who's going to come out on top in this battle? Oh, Team Sky McLaren out of nowhere. Andy Ivey went for broke up the inside of the pair of them into the bus stop chicane and absolutely destroyed Godoy. Well, that couldn't have worked out any better for me because I'm now inside the top 10 and I've got 3 seconds of breathing room. But let's go back and take another look at this on the replay. Incredible how close we are at this stage of the race. 5 cars, you can throw a blanket over them. Well, watch the white McLaren on the inside. Andy Ivey makes the doomed decision to make it 3 wide into the chicane. That is never going to work and it was a huge wreck. Well, I said before the start of the race that I may be able to get inside the top 15 with a bit of luck, but I never imagined that I'd get inside the top 10. But here we are, just a lap and a half to go, and actually I'm within sight of P8 now. ZH currently in 8th position, Timo Peter right behind him, and I'm closing in on the pair of them. Can it get better for me here? Can I get into 9th or even 8th position? Well, I'm right on the tail of the green Ferrari now. Meanwhile, behind me, Andrew Taylor is my nearest challenger, and fair play to Andrew. He's been an ever-present in my rear-view mirror throughout this race. He's 1.5 seconds behind, so we can't rule him out. But for now, I've got to concentrate on these 2 cars in front. Can I get another position or 2 over the final lap of this race? Well, we're about to find out. Neither one of them in front look particularly stable, but I could probably say the same about me too. Throughout this race, my tyres just never got up to pressure. It felt like I've been driving on an ice rink this entire time. Really tricky conditions here, particularly as the sun goes down. Temperatures are dropping and it is getting really difficult to find grip. Look at Peter now, he's making a move up the inside of H. Is Peter going to take that 8th position into the first corner? Yes, he is. And that is going to cost H some exit speed as well. So can I capitalise? Can I challenge the Aston Martin coming up through the S's? In fact, it's Peter who's drifted a little wide there. That's allowed H the chance to get back alongside. Now it's me, suddenly with an opportunity to dive up the inside of H and take the position. Well, I wasn't expecting to get the pass done there, but I will take it. I think both of them were forced to lift momentarily as they got a touch offline going up through that S's section. I was able to keep it pinned and capitalise, so I'm up into P9. I'm just 0.3 of a second behind Peter now in P8, and I've got half a lap to try and get that 8th position. Can I do it? Well, it is going to be a dramatic finish to this race, whatever happens. It looks like there's a little bit of daylight in the rearview mirror now. Well, I use the term daylight. It's dusk here at Watkins Glen. But yeah, a 1.1 second gap back to H now. And it looks like Taylor must have run into trouble as well. I didn't even notice that. But Taylor now nearly 7 seconds back in P12. And I'm starting to doubt whether I'm going to be able to get past Peter here. He's driving incredibly smoothly. I can get close to him, but I can't get close enough to make a move. It's going to need a mistake, I think, from the green Ferrari, and it doesn't look like that is coming with just a couple of corners remaining. Peter's rear looking a little bit loose through there, but it is very easy to slip and slide through that left-hander. But it very much looks like Peter's done enough now to guarantee that 8th position. I'm pushing as hard as I can, a little bit too hard there as I pick up and off track. But yeah, Peter will get P8. I'll have to settle for P9. Oh, but I'm thrilled with that, absolutely delighted. That has to be my best ever fight back in sim racing, a gain of 21 positions. Sure, there are a few freebies along the way, but I also had to work incredibly hard for some of those positions as well. I'm really proud of this result. A fastest lap of 1:46.1 in the race too. I actually wasn't that far off battling for the top 5. Now, given that I didn't have any practice, given that I didn't have the correct tyre pressures, and given that I started all the way back in P30 on the grid, this has to go down as one of my greatest ever performances. Thank you ever so much for joining me.